Hi guys, so I know this video is a little late incoming, but I hope that it is still useful to you. I'm just going to walk you through kind of the process of Peergrade now that I am much smarter than I was a few weeks ago. So in Peergrade, you log in, you end up in this view. So we have classes and live sessions. Classes, if you have kids that you are going to be doing assignments that are kind of longer term, longer than just your class period, you would have them sign up for a class, and then you would create an assignment for them. A live session would be kind of just like it says, like you're just doing it right now, and they're all going to interact with each other in the now. Okay, so let's start with classes, and we'll talk briefly about live sessions because it's kind of similar. So a class, to create a class, you're going to click the green Create Class button. The Google Classroom, apparently that button doesn't work because we're on free accounts and not paid. There are several features that are paid features, obviously. So I'm going to call this Delete Me also, just because I already have a Delete Me course on here. I'm going to say Create New Class. Okay, so now we have two things we need to do. We need to get participants in the class, and then we need to create the assignments. So we're going to come up here to Participants. And we're going to add multiple students because I think that's the most effective way to do this. And we're going to use a class code, and it will generate one for us that we can then show in full screen if we want, give that to the students, and they can sign up for our class simply by going to peergrade.io/join. Okay, you can create, you can add teachers to your class just by adding them here and just choosing teacher. Okay. So once you've got your participants in and you need an assignment, you're going to go up here, create an assignment, and you're going to name it, you're going to give a description of it, and you can add any file you want. You could add a picture prompt, you could add an essay that you want them to react to or something like that. Okay, and then you're going to click, before I say that, you can copy an existing assignment. So this is great if you have, 4 sections of ELA 2 and you want to do the same assignment in all of them. You spend all this time setting up one assignment really well, you can actually copy it to the other classes. So that's good. Next, this is where you create the rubric. Rubric's really important. These are the default questions, but you can change them, you can edit them, you can add them, and when you add a question, there's 3 types. You have text question, which is like the other ones were. You have scale, or yes, no. And a scale question, for example, if you were doing this with AP students and you wanted them to give each other what they think somebody would get on the AP exam, you can do that. You can require it or make it optional. And blah, blah, blah. Save. Okay. You can also use their rubric library, and there's some really good stuff in here. In particular, this one called Writing, I think is great. And you just click on Copy Rubric Questions. It'll pull all of that over into your rubric. So I like that. And then we're going to click Next. And then you're going to put the deadlines in. Now, the deadlines are super important. And this is part of what was throwing me off when we were in our sessions together. If you do an assignment this way, the time period or the exact time and date that the submission period ends is when everybody moves from the submission portion of the assignment to the review portion of the assignment. It will automatically do this at the date and time that you specify. So there is no manual way to move them in an assignment to the next step of the process. All right. You can add deadlines for the beginning of these things if you don't want it to open automatically. So like, if I don't want the students to see this assignment yet, I don't want to see it till tomorrow, I can change the deadline maybe to tomorrow, okay? And same thing here. So this is actually pretty important. Then we're going to say create assignment, and at this point, you're going to have kind of this dashboard view, and it's got your timeline happening up at the top. It's got your overview here of how many things have been submitted, how much feedback has been given, and what kind of flags. And when it says flags, when you see this, what it's talking about is that students, as they are reviewing an essay or as they are reviewing the review that they got, they can flag something to bring it to the teacher's attention. So if there's something that a student feels like you need to see, they can put a flag in. And then this is going to tell you how many flags you have to go chase down. There's even a specific place for that up here. There's a whole page that you can go look at the flags. I want you to look at the rubric section. This is where you can change this. Let's not make that public. This is where you can edit that until people start using it, and then it will lock. Okay. I'm going to show you this in just a minute. The settings, I think, are important. There's some good stuff in here. So under settings, under submissions, you can choose what kind of submissions you'll allow. So if you want them to type right in here, just uncheck the rest of these options. If you allow file submission, you can allow just specific types. Okay, so you can help them out with that. Under feedback, this tells them how many they have to review, how many submissions they have to review. And you can say that only students who have given feedback can see the feedback that they've received, kind of like that. We can't use groups or categories because we have the free version. Under rubric, you can allow them to see the rubric before they start giving feedback. I want you to notice that the weighting of the sections and questions is not something that we can change under the free version. So I'm going to show you in just a second how to make it so the students can't see the grade, because the grade is a little bit wonky. And then advanced, this is where you can allow the flagging or not. Okay, so let's go back to our class. And in our class settings, there's a lot of important things in here too. So we were just looking at assignment settings, but these are class settings. This is about notification for students, and you can decide what is important and what's not. You don't want to send them a million emails, but if you are closing submissions at midnight on Tuesday and you're opening a review at that time, you might send them one of those emails and let them know. Teacher email settings right here, depending on how many emails you want to get, you can make some selections there as well. And my screen is frozen. Oh, there it is. Okay, so right here, this is about assignment weights. Now let me talk about this for a minute. This will, well, let me scroll down. Right here, allow students to see their performance scores. If you check this, then students are going to see grades. They're going to see like a 50% or a 75%. And the way that it calculates that grade is kind of weird. Like it gives them full credit for having completed or for having just, if somebody writes a review in text box, it gives them credit for that. But if you have a scale and maybe they only achieved halfway up the scale, it'll give them a 50% for that question. And if it's a yes or no, they'll give them a 50% for a no and 100% for a yes. Like, did they include this? Or a 0% and a 100%? Like, did they include it? 5 examples of imagery or something like that. So it's kind of weird the way it grades it. So I do not recommend allowing students to see this. And I think if you don't, and you look at the grades that it comes up with, you'll kind of understand that a little bit better, that it's kind of an arbitrary score. When it says change the weights here, this is basically for you. You can see the score of their submission performance. That's what somebody reviewed their essay as. And then their feedback performance, how the person who was reviewed rated them on the quality of their review. Okay, so it's kind of 50-50 right now, and you can change that if you would like. That's what that is for. Okay, so let's go back. And up here at the top, this is a drop down that lets you go to another class. And when you're in another class, if you have multiple assignments, let's see, this one has no, one of these has multiple assignments in it. You'll see oh, we're on the assignment page. It'll have another drop down up here. Okay, so let me go into here just to show you what this looks like in mid-process. So here I have 3 of students that have submitted. 1 has given feedback. You can see where I am in my timeline. My next deadline is when the feedback closes, and I don't have any flags. If I click on late submissions, I told you I was going to show you that. I can allow, these people submitted after my deadline, but I can allow them to go ahead and submit their work. And I can also allow all to submit work. And I can either set a deadline or not for that. Late submission. Okay. And let me show you the results. So on the results page, and this is actually not the default. Oh, where'd it go? No, okay. So results, this is my first submission, and you can see who has scored this. So this belongs to Ava. It was graded by Kimberly Howard. It has not been reassigned to the second and third person yet. I can see the submission right here, so I can look at the essay and I can look at the feedback that was given right here next to it. The students will not see the name of the person who gave the feedback. It is anonymous. You can allow the name to be seen in the paid version, but we don't have that. I can type a message and give feedback here, and the student who was reviewed, Ava here, can give feedback as well. But this it does give you as a teacher this summary so that you can actually see who's reviewing whom, and that is helpful. And you can hide the submission itself, and that will take you back to the list of all the students. So I could go look at Katrina's. Kimberly reviewed hers too, and I can check hers. Okay? And that's about it. This blue button takes you back to the main screen. A live session is real easy to create, and it gives you a separate code so that they go straight into the live session. But the difference is that you actually can move them to the next step. So you just press this to move everybody on. Or, let's see, I think I have one of these that I have some people in. Yes. Okay, so just to show you, you can move an individual person over by clicking the 3 dots next to their name, and you can tell it to move that student forward. Or you can even log in as that student if you wanted to. Okay, it tells you how many students have joined the assignment up here. Okay, so that's pretty much your overview. I'm going to send you some more stuff too, and I hope that all of that is helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or feel free to reach out to your campus DLC, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you're having a great start to the year.